Giver, Most High, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Rastafari. I am the host, Honorable Prophet Daniel. This is the African Liberation Network. And, today we have a special, a unique reasoning. It's a panel discussion, really. But it's kind of in the form of an interview. And we have some delegates from the Miami branch of the EABIC present here with us. We have Honorable Leading Priest Knuckles, Honorable Leading Priest Dougie, Honorable Prophet Benton Perry, and Honorable Leading Priest Nappy with us at this moment. All of these individuals are very key members of the Congress and the Miami branch and the development that took place. The Miami branch still exists, but there was a height of their production and output and attendance and membership, etc. So we're gonna unpack the history of the branch, the Miami branch, but also we'll get into some more current events and just kind of clear up some things, put everything on the table to let it be known. So, but without further ado, I'll ask Honorable Priest Knuckles to give us a blessing, my Lord, before we go into the reasoning.
Glory be unto our Father, to the Son, to the Holy One of creation. Jah was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, to the world without end. Heavenly Father, Mother God, we give thanks for this moment in life. Give thanks to thy presence amongst us. Give thanks to all that are here. Give thanks to all the blessings that was bestowed upon us as a people. You ask thee to guide our thoughts, our tongue, and to hopeful meditation and reasoning to strengthen one to another. Emmanuel, I, Selassie.
Rastafari.
Blessed my
God. Thanks, my Lord. Yes, royal family, so without further ado, we'll go right into it. Three of our panel members, Priest Knuckles, Priest Dougie, and Priest Nappy, were all members of the Congress in the camp in Jamaica, so I would like to ask, between the three of them, and maybe the elder could lead the way, still start the reasoning, but give us a rundown of what was going on in the camp and internationally with the Bobo Shanti order in the year of 1992, and upcoming to that time, sort of the listeners can get an understanding of the climate of the Congress, leading up to the establishment of the Miami branch.
My Lord, I would ask Honorable Priest Dougie to answer this question. He's a better man at history and remembrance than myself. So, I would ask if you could answer that. If anything I can add to it,
Yes, my Lord. Glorified.
Especially he was traveling back and forth between camp and here at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what was going on at camp, he could have given you a more vivid reality of what was going on at that time.
Thanks, my Lord. Honorable Priest Dougie, the floor is yours. Dougie? Not hearing you, my Lord. So Priest Dougie left, and he'll come in again. Maybe he's having some technical difficulty.
Okay.
Be.
As far as relating to the question, in 92 here in Florida, there was little organizations within Rastafari movement, and so when the event was about to come up Priest Dougie, I asked Priest Dougie to ask the father, you know, about carrying up service and stuff like that. And he came back with a reply. The father said to us, say, if you who know how to do it, don't do it, then who is going to do it? So we accepted that as a certificate, you know, a freedom to continue within the movement of building, you know, ourselves to the Black Christ salvation. We started with this July 23rd, 1992, the 100, the centenary celebration of His Majesty. We rented a place in the park, and it was a wonderful event. As a matter of fact, the next day, the Sunday, all the newspapers in Miami had the event and the Bubba them on the front page, applauding, you know, the togetherness and the order, you know, that they saw for the first time, you know. I mean, it was in a park, it wasn't a full order. There was only about me, Priest Nappy, Priest Glass, was ministering, Priest Dougie, Priest Irel. I don't remember who was playing bass. And 2 or 3 other Bubba, you know, at the time. This was just the first time we started, you know. And over time, the congregation began to grow. We kept keeping celebrations in the park. At one point, we had a brethren who had a restaurant and a space around the back, concrete off and everything, and he gave us the freedom, and we used to keep celebration and Sabbath service over there, you know. And eventually the congregation grew, and the need for a place became imminent. And so at the time, Priest Igo and Prophet Hannibal rented a space they wanted to do. I think it was a African market. I don't remember the full idea behind it, but they sought the place and was on that agenda, and they turned it over and say, let us use it as a tabernacle. And so we started having a place, a tabernacle, Sabbath service every Sabbath, and it grew. More it grew, brethren them in all North America. Some brethren come from Virgin Islands, some from Bahamas, would pass through at times, man them from New York, all in North America, all the way from Boston. And it became a hub, a gathering place for the Bubba them in North America. And brethren now start to move down to Florida. First, it was just that they would visit at celebration time. Then people start to move down, and the number of priests, the number of men them who did up on the hill increase a great deal, you know. So Florida became a gathering place. If you can't travel. For at that time, I couldn't travel, and you couldn't go down a yard. So we had a place in Florida where we had celebration and service and all of that. It was a good strength. Now, out of this came community projects, because as much as our objective is to return to Africa, while you're making your agitations and moving on programs to fulfill this development, you still live in a place where you have to move and deal with the people there. That is how I see the father up on the hill, feeding the people them round and about, you know, and whatever help that they need that we can administer from the hill, we do that. So it's the same practice we would have here. People always come from the Rastafari community would want their children to be delegated into the Rastafari community. People in prison would require letters to keep their dreads or to get their diet so that they're not forced to eat meat and all of these things. To fulfill these community services, we needed to get registered. Because when time you send a letter to the prison system in America, that's how America works. They're going to go in them computer to see if it's a legitimate body or not. So the move towards registering the church so that as a church, as a people, we would have all legal rights within the system, freedom of religious practice, protection from anyone come and try to disturb us, you know. It gave us privileges, legality. So it was just a natural step, at least to our meditation, to move towards that, you know. But I don't want cloud and take up all of the reason, you know, that I love here. Some of the other brethren, them, you know, relate or them see the development of EABIC in Miami, you know. And preferably, I would prefer to think of it as an office. Because too, we don't have land space to have a camp. When you think about a branch, you think about a situation where you have a community living together with a church. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that facility or type of space. We had a storefront that we rented and was functioning out of, you know. So we couldn't have anybody staying there or none of these things. So I think within myself, when I'm thinking of Miami, I think of Miami as an office of the EABIC, you know. So
Yes, I give thanks, my Lord.
My Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, them here and I.
Yes,
yes, my Lord.
Yes, but just to reiterate what priest doctors, as you said, just a brief synopsis. You know, as I said, we were living in New York at that time. No one was down here prior to 1980 in Florida, and we went into Jamaica, and then when we leave Jamaica, I came and live in Miami, and I lived here for a couple of years, and then Priest Glass came up, and then Priest Knuckles came up, and the first celebration in '92 was only me and you and Jack Glass that was on the altar at that time. No other priest was here, I think, really, that moved down here as yet.
No.
Right.
So
And then as we move on, as I say, you know, then priest I got them and priest that set a bridge in them come and 60 seconds started and you know keep going on. And as the priest say, wherever community service or wherever things that we need to do, we get up manfully and willfully and did it. And we did this all out of our own pocket. You know, of all of these years we have been here, we have never sanctioned the government to get anything from the government yet, even though it's within our rights as taxpayer and all of that. But we still never summoned that because we know the history of the camp and you know, we never like the taking out from government, nothing like still, you know, because we never want no one to control us in the things where we can do and all of that. So we was not that nature of taking. We was most of giving. And that's where we all moved together and did and give. And we did many projects in Miami, in Broward, and especially in Africa, at least myself and Priest Knuckles can attend to it. I did some outreach in Ivory Coast, a lot of different camp and hospitals and them thing that we went, where we flew the EABIC banner in conjunction with Earth to Table, which is another organization that deal with inner city youth that we partner with over the years. And we have done, you know, between both of us as Priest Locono, Earth to Table, we have done a lot of work, a lot of community service work we have done, you know. And it's always been a light. We have, you know, no one can say that we have ever in any shame or anything like that and the reach and the work that we did. You know what I mean? And everything was in conjunction with the Father while we were here. There was no outcry as to say you can't do this or you can't do that. You know what I mean? And we did what we're supposed to do. You know, my life, so I see it still, you know? So, you know, we're there now. So, that's my two, you know.
Lord. Give thanks, priest. So like in 92, you know, it was like the Congress was at a, like, in the item opinion was kind of at a high point as far as the productivity, because I know that was when the delegation went to Ethiopia, you know, including Priest Paul, and, you know, they went for the centenary celebration. So that must have, to me, that says that the Congress was, you know, really functioning well. Would you agree?
Sure.
The government and the church and everything was.
Sure. It was at the high point, man.
Yes, I.
So a lot of members and yeah.
So when you started hosting, having service in the park and these different places, what type of people was coming to the service? Was, you know, yeah, who from the community was joining?
All cross-faction of people, just like what you see now. You know, you will say the same different races. You know, 1 and 2, maybe get a 1 and 2 like Black American from in the area or something now and then. You know, but it's basically like when you come down, it's the same sort of people I guess drawn to the celebration services, you know?
Yes, I. And the membership began, like, it increased?
Especially in the 90s, of course. I mean, yeah, and then everyone start going different places to, you know, you have some other bridges start functioning, you know, especially in the different islands and all of that. You know, it really step up because a lot of us who were bridging there living at the camp, like in the mid-80s and come up, early 80s and mid-80s, a lot of bridging from all over the islands, they start coming and live at camp. And then maybe after a couple of years, you know, everyone start go back into them respective areas, you know, and start them journey, you know, and build as best as them can build. I mean, and that we do down in Miami here, we start and put our shoulder to the wheel. We never procrastinate, we know what we needed to do. We never do it out of fear, because we never look for no one, we can't hold no big stick over with or anything like that. You know, so we do from we feel it within our heart and the righteousness to do. We went and did it. And who want vex. It's not, you know, me I deal with.
Yes, my Lord.
I am not the thing we love rule over people, and people tend to always want things, say, well, them can stay afar and see you and do your thing and can come judge you and don't even know exactly what you're doing. Yet still where they are and doing for them thing, them not do for them thing. Right, either for, you know what I mean? If a man do one for the man, I saw me seek my brethren. Me always look for my brethren afar, upright, and more loving whoever you do brethren. Now look for you lean and then way they hear a word from your far and I go pick it up and look for you lean. No, I'm not say them way the brethren. I mean, so we just keep doing what we can do, my lord, and keep building, you know what I mean? You know, and we're not a disgrace tonight. You know, and everything is done, you know, we're able to get a 501c3 and things that has been active for years, priest, don't it? How many years now? Years.
Yeah, man. Yeah, from 2009, I think it is.
Yeah, for 09, right.
So people like Prophet Benton, my Lord, what year did you came into the Miami branch? I know you was a member even before coming to Miami, but when was it you came and became a member of the Miami branch or office or whatever?
Blessed love family.
My
My
Lord.
Lord, bless up.
That's good.
Love
Good day. Good day, priest. Them, I ain't see the item in a minute. Just want to say give thanks to that item and health and strength.
Rasta.
So much.
Yeah, but I first started through into Miami, me and two other brethren in 99. We come to check it out. We right in Bahamas and Freeport. 35 minutes. It was easier for me to come to Miami to catch a service than to go to Nassau. Miami was closer from where I was in Bahamas.
Oh, okay.
So from in 99, we started to come and sojourn for a minute, back and forth until about 2004 when I moved to America. And when we're kind of moving up and down, but I become active within the congregation until about 2008. So from about 99, but what attracted me and made me keep on coming back was the amount of progressive idea and movement in Miami. The diversity too, where you had Bobo from everywhere here. So it was a melting pot of Bobo. So you was able to see and get the culture from a more holistic and a broadened perspective in Miami than what I did experience elsewhere and in my travels.
Yes, my Lord. So you felt that it was a good thing, as a young person where you lived in the Bahamas, as you said, and experienced it in that particular island, maybe other places. But, you said compared to other places, it was a more progressive and productive kind of environment. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so. It was more, you could see active participation on all fronts. We're in Miami. You wasn't getting the myopic perspective that usually prevailed. You had more development towards Africa, more tangible works going on, programs for youths. So you felt, even though I didn't live in Israel and Nassau and everything, you still had more sense of community, what I was feeling in Miami.
Okay. So what type of, you mentioned that they had programs going on. Can the item kind of, tell us what type of programs you had throughout over the course of the years in the community? What type of things were you, I know Priest Knuckles had mentioned a few, but if you could even kind of a bit more specific as to what type of things was it that attracted the eye, Joe Benton, and
Well, like I said, it was the opportunity to work as well. So
work?
Yeah, to do work within the community as well. Such as when we were able to incorporate and open up avenues that would have been closed off to us to actually work in legitimate spaces within the community. So we developed relations within some of the prisons, me, myself, within the library system. We were doing classes. We were able to do cultural presentations. We hosted a few symposiums. We had a homeless feeding program, many programs. Also did some workshops with youth, with what they call at-risk youth, So there were opportunities, and still are opportunities, to interface with the community, and you had the ones with the capacity and the skill set here to do it as well.
Soon, my Lord. So was being that everyone here experienced the culture in some type of camp life before this, going on in more like of a city where everybody's not necessarily living together. How would you compare the experience being a Bobo Shanti, from living there in the island and then living in Miami, but still having a community? Was it like a positive, was it positive? Was it a good thing? Did the Bobo Shanti have like a influence in the broader community outside of like even Rastafari, but with just the average people and stuff like that? Anyone?
Well, like I said, it give us an opportunity. We have to work for the people. We're doing this for the people, not for Rasta, not for whole black world of people. So when we're able to foster that community development, we're able to do more. We're able to garner more support and raise more awareness and common plight. Now, in terms of the lessons I could take from living in the camp yard to transition into Miami, especially being a young man, it taught me the separation of inner courts meditation, which would be a camp yard, and how we are to function in the outer courts, within the world, within society, within building communities outside of a camp yard type environment, outside of something that is continuously ritually pure. So you are a good balance of it here to me. It was my first experience of that as a young boy too. Because it was to me, it was confusion as a young man within this. And I even see it, and still see it over years, where once there's no understanding within the culture of things that are done for ritualistic purity and the purpose it have to be done within a camp yard setting, and things that can translate into living within greater society.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have anything they wanted to say on that?
No.
It's like a priest Glass always recall that him say before him left camp, and priest Harris said that thing to him, and say, if you think that bubble life is easy, wait until you go a road and have to live it. The camp life gives you, it's like you're there. You have no reason not to be there, full attention. When you come out of the world and now you have, remember, Jah provide for you shelter, food, you don't have none of these things to worry about. When you come out of the world, you have to provide your own everything and still pay attention and give attention to the liberty and the culture. So it takes much more out of you to be a soldier outside a camp. In a camp is like the rules kind of only embrace you, so you can't go too far out here, so you're free. So you have to be strong within your internal to walk this road individually, and the fact that you have a community amongst you that reinforces that you, that consciousness. So it was good for us to have a place where we could gather, where we could communicate, with share our understanding, our experience, and at the same time teaching the community the principles of God in flesh, which is one of the antidote for the spirit God and the Christianity and religion. The reality that God is in you, you're part of God. You have to do the things. Don't just pray and expect the thing to be done. Pray and it gives you the right frame of mind and the confidence to already win the battle that you start and the objective. So yes, being here and having the community and having the reality of service and all of that, it was a great strength to me, still is a great strength to me, why I still stay with it, you know. But even Prophet Benton, call him professor, when we were thinking about registration and paperwork, and many of us are not don't have the skill set to certain things. And right in time, like him said, 208, and the man come with all the necessary knowledge and thing to implement this within the framework of how King Emmanuel would have set him thing. So me never have no doubt and no worry about it. Just give with the freedom and everything. Just never tell us, say we can register the church. But there was no law, not any rule written, nor said by the Father that the church can be registered. Our first attempt was in the same framework of thinking how that do things. They registered the church in Ghana. And our first objective was to try and get it registered as a branch of the church in Ghana. When we went to Ghana to attempt this thing, Priest Jackie was the chairman, approved it. Rest of Brethren approved it. But Priest Harris had just arrived from Jamaica. And Priest Harris said, no, and them in Jamaica, no, you know that. And it was black. And so we resorted to just register in the church at EABIC Miami. You know, matter of fact, at the time, my thought was register just a Rasta thing and call it Bobosha or whatever, not to use the name. But a young prophet would just put on turban, stand up in the reason and say, then are we not EABIC? And nobody couldn't deny that. So why do we have to register something else? We are EABIC, we should register EABIC. And so we decided to just use the name, register EABIC Church as a non-for-profit organization. No?
Yes, my Lord.
When you ask a question, we can elaborate on those things too.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned some key things there. You said that had registered the Congress in Ghana.
Yes,
correct?
man. Yes, man.
All right. And that was before, obviously, before this happened in Miami. Yes?
Yes. Yes, man.
So that, I mean, so, because some people would ask or would say when it comes to the topic of registering the Congress, is that the Congress is a government. So it shouldn't be registered under any government. But, you know, apparently Dada had already, you know, come to that conclusion that there's something that's positive to do for our movement. So it was, you know, still something that could be done. So the item just followed his example and did the same thing where you were. And apparently it made things easier for you to do good in your community. Am I right?
Yes, man. Yes.
Yeah. So
and it became a gathering place for angels that some, like the priest said, the prophet said, it was 40 minutes from where he was. You know, people in New York, all of them just drive like you all did the other day, you know.
mm-hmm.
And the standard was, you see, at one point we had at least 8 or 9 leading priests that were living on the hill, spent time on the hill. Leading priests that were, some were former cabinet members, parliament members, that know the way and the proceeding of the Father. One of the calls that I got after we registered the Congress, one of the first calls I get from New York. And this is going to illustrate some of the things that happen when people are ignorant of certain things. And the first thing the person called me and him said, how could you register King Emmanuel Church under World Council of Churches? Kind of wickedness that. And I said to the Virgin, I said, would you register God Church under World Council of Churches? He said, no, I asked. So I said, why you think priest knuckles would allow that? Why you think the priest them down there would allow something like that? Because it was a misconception that from your register, it's going to be under the World Council of Churches. No, that is not true. Also, we say we are a government within a government. If we were respected in that capacity, then we would be able to address our causes in the United Nations. When the Father go to attempt or send things to the United Nations, we get to understand, say, the cause of repatriation and stuff and reparation has to be taken up by a government. So whether the government of Jamaica, the government of Ghana, anyone that will be able to sponsor us to speak on our behalf. We were not allowed to do that because we are not a government. The only access to the United Nations outside of a government, sovereign government, is through a non-NGO, a non-government organization. Now, the question you ask, the talk that we talk, that we are a government. Yes, we are the poor people's government, but within the places that we are, it is not legitimately recognized. So when you register the name and the church, then you have legitimate authority within that space that you are, whatever country it is. And I think that is where Jah is moving us, or where Jah was moving us towards. That's why I'm registered. I want to register in church first in Africa, in Ghana. But I think, and others can talk how them see it, Jah would register all the churches them in their different locations, make it legitimate. And we would have a voice in the United Nations as a non-government body. When we say we are government within a government, yes, but to get the authority and validity of that, we have to register, you know? This I understand. No one else can share.
Yeah, thanks, my Lord. Anyone else had anything they wanted to add to that?
Yes, yeah, man. Again, if we are a house of man of right and we're a house of priests, unless somebody is insane or them warped, they're not gonna go against the Constitution and the principles of the Congress, because that is what put us to the Congress in the first place and hold us in the Congress. So if a group of men who ones and ones know, walk with the Father, lived on the hill, knows the principle, live the liberty, and the greatest test, as Priest Miggy say, is not to live up on the hill where everything is conducive to living the live. It's to be able to live your live off of the hill. And I were able to manifest that where we lived our live to where we could establish a church. Why is it that we as a people choose to undermine one another? Why we can't look at it as the glass half full? That these brethren did their research and understood, the dynamics of registering the Congress and establish the fact that it did not go against the Constitution of the Congress. It did not transgress and it did not sin. It is a choice of being able to function legitimately and efficiently and serve the community on a certain tangible level versus staying in the shadows and being a non-entity, you know. And man chose to come out from the shadows to be a productive part of a community in which we were a part of, you know, as part of the Rasta family within that community as well, you know. And find ourselves at this late date, how many years later, still having queries on what our intention was. Our intention was and is and remain the same, to live the live, to share the live with those who want to know the live, you know, to be able to practice our live. That's why we went and we got permission to establish what we established. So we could practice our live, you know, because it's not all the while we were able to go on the hill for every celebration and for every event, you know, and having families, growing families in a different zone, in a different geographical location, you know.
My Lord, what did you ask? What did you ask King Emmanuel to be able to do?
To establish a church, a branch of the Congress.
That's how you worded it?
Was to establish a church.
Okay.
A gathering, yeah.
Give thanks. Just to be clear, just wanted to know.
Straightforward, you know. And the father asked, you know, as the emissary asked, why? Which would be the natural question. And I placed the case before him just as how Iman had spoken with the collective and was informed by the collective how to present the case, you know. Just like I said, there are several families that's in the Miami space, you know, with a lot of children, and it's not every time they can come to Jamaica to get to take part in the celebration or in the ceremonial order. And as Bobo Ashanti, which we at the time we were 24/7 Bobo Ashanti, not part-time Bobo Ashanti. We wanted to share that whole liberty with our family. And we put it natural to the father, and the father said the natural. And the father lay out how it can be done or how it should be done. Sent I and I to the office, the priest Turks, to get the banners, to get what he wanted I and I to have to start off with. And that is how we started with job blessings. And during the time, we have had many visits from many elders, from many ones that lived on the hill, that were amazed at what we achieved in duplicating. And I'm one of them that's not afraid to use words that people might be, you know, go up in arms about. We duplicated as best as we could the energy that we learned on the hill. That salvation joy that we learned on the hill, we brought it to Miami, to a space where people needed it. And how we know it was needed, because shortly after opening the tabernacle, we had full congregation, majority of the time, full congregation. And people came and people went, and people came and people went. We served a lot of people over the time that tabernacle was open. So it served its role. And not only did we serve it in just a spiritual capacity, but as an entity, priests them, they worked with Camilla House, fed the poor. We lived the live. We didn't just talk the live, we didn't just preach the live from the altar. You know, we function in our community as an entity, as a service entity. Give thanks.
Lord, yes, so that was clear. You know, the question asked is, can we establish a church in Miami? And permission was granted, and, you know, it was done. And the item saw fit to register the church, you know, which, let me ask this, is the church separate from the Congress? Can you register just the church and not register the Congress?
No, it registers at Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. Miami.
Church of Salvation, or just
the Church of Salvation.
Okay. And so, yeah, within the Constitution now, I know Honorable Prophet Benton had did some, suggested revision to the Constitution. Was that a collective effort as well?
Over time, I remember going to reasoning in Jamaica 2007. And young priest, I don't remember what his name. Remember, give me a shout. People will remember and talk. And he stood up and he said at the conference 2007 that the Constitution says that the members of the Parliament, which is the governing body for the House or the Father, leave it, is to be selected by the President. He says that we don't have a president. We would have to amend the Constitution to make it that the members of the Parliament are selected by the Parliament, the sitting Parliament members. One tall priest, call him one name, stand up and say, any man touch the Constitution, go through the gate. The Constitution is to be a living document. It don't finish. It's a living document, our Constitution. Constitution come about because the need to govern and to order the things. It couldn't run the same way as how it did run a back a wall. And how it started out 10 miles will be because when I went, and when you read the book, it said you had about 60 something people. When time I man leave the hill, I was the priest in the kitchen. God gave me the kitchen for run 3 years. And I had a book saying I was feeding 177 people each day. So the growth and expansion of the Congress demanded a new governance to going into the future. It couldn't all be just centered from headquarters. It's our thinking, we have to learn. When you look at the history of the Congress, how it evolved, you have to learn that it's a growing thing. And as the need arises, that implements certain things. When I came to the Congress, the thing that read in the morning, call them principle sheet, wasn't like that. But as the growth on the hill and more people and more, and it's not everyone, it's not all the empress them, because there was like, it's Rasta empress, them is empress of a bubble. So God had to tighten up the principles and do more and all of these things. The Congress is when, I think it's in 82, that informed the League, because as more empresses come and needed more a voice to express, to form the League. So as we develop and as we grow, to bring people with skills and talents to fulfill the need of the Congress, growing and expanding. And some old thoughts have to be put away and generate new thoughts. I remember when time I come at camp first man and say, God no deal with nuts and bolts. In other words, that's why we never have a vehicle. Then shortly after that, we had a van, a ladder, a truck, because that was necessary.
Several trucks.
Yes, and we get to the point where we could afford to do that with the help of the brethren them traveling to and from. So we have to see this not as something that is rigid as the commandment them we did set in a stone, but as what the man said, he might give us a new commandment in our heart. So within each of us to have certain skills and certain things to build on the foundation to build and not be afraid to build because him is the workman in us. But the man said, just do the thing. Oh, God, would I do it? It might be a new thing or a new idea that wasn't practiced on the hill before. But if it is not wrong, you shouldn't fight against it because we're defending right. You understand what I'm saying? So as we develop the necessary things, look, Sister Angie, register the land. Some of our brothers, I say, we don't need to do that. God placed this and all of that. But the time come where the government in Jamaica was closing in and people just living and capture land and would take away the land from me. They already, as the police come up there, we're gonna stop service and say we have to move off of the land and just say, nah, move until boat come. But they've been after that land long time. And the Empress registered the church. Register the land. So we are legal there now. Somebody just couldn't come move with. You have to apply yourself to the space you're living in and the time. You can't go back to back a wall. And the space that we are in now. I remember when we did a camp and the man said, everyone have to come at Jamaica when time both come. I'm going to ask Dada. Dada said, no, my lord. When the boat go up the Nile, everywhere black people, they were going to stop and pick up. So that Bull Bay, 10 Mile Bull Bay is our foundation, you know. But we have to see the foundation expand greater than that. The parliament and something have to consist of bridging them from all the different locations. And wherever we have a congregation now, we're going to have a church. To me, they have to be registered. And we all have one governing body that register all. You know why everybody have do different things according to them. So it have to come under one order.
So my Lord, the family, anyone, you know, who can answer the question, would like to ask when this development, like say from 92, the establishment, the permission granted to, establish a congregation in Miami up until even, the present moment, how was the communication with the headquarters with Jamaica, Bobo Hill, and the relationship?
During the father's time and right up to the father transitioning, we had open communication. We were told and we were requested, works that we were requested to do. We were sent on missions. We communicated solid with the father. We attended to, at the time, it was Miami Branch, who was really, to be plain, supporting the needs
In Ghana.
at that specific time, because remember now, we're talking about, as the priest said, we're talking about the Gospel Bells mission time, when the expenditure was more than just running the camp. You needed air flight for X amount of ones in the delegation who to go to the different regions. So there was some amount of money that was needed, and was called for from the international family. And the international family answered the call, So at the time, communication was open. Like I have told the story many times over. I was called by the father one time, same need to see I in 24 hours. I got a call, Priest Michael in New York got the call as well. When I got to Jamaica, I got there just in time to pick up Priest Michael at camp and drop him back at the airport because I spent less than 24 hours. Him just came and did what he had to do and move. And I just come and did what I was supposed to do as an emissary from the Miami branch. So, the communication was open. And we were not stepping on any toes and going over any principle. We were never called into office and reprimanded like any misbehaving child or any misbehaving group or whatever. We have never had a reprimand from the father for anything that our branch has been doing. And even since the father passed, Nowhere is perfect. We have had internal problems, just like everywhere else, sorting their internal affairs out. But Miami have been a consistent branch in progress, in trying to establish progress. You know, attempted to establish the New Jerusalem University, again, through the help of the headmaster, Jabenton, and Priest Dada, and other young ones. The revision of the Constitution, which was done by Jabenton with the assistance of other young soldiers that's versed in the space, is something that is needed. You know, ones are running away from it and shying away from it. But again, it shows Miami's progress and courage. Miami members are not afraid to set a trend then, you know? We're not afraid to do something for the first time. Go ahead.
I pray there, Mama. Well, there was one time we had that incident, you know, with the father and things. There was one time there was that incident, and this was like maybe about 1989. Or right 1989. And we had the opportunity with the press to write the letter for the press and things like that. And at that same time, I think Sister Angela had just gone down. And I guess she carried the word bad. So me to get back the word, so the father did vex say we are write letter and never consult down there before. So I don't remember how long it was that after that I went down. But when I went down, I go straight to the father. And I said, my lord, I'm gonna love certain thing when me hearing, my lord. Because all of the years I sit down here, so I is not no puppet, my lord. I come learn this thing the upright way, my lord. And anyway, I do, I carry it in an upright manner. And for years, I see an opportunity for write a letter before there was any time where you'd have cell phone where you could have call and, them days there. I said, my lord, I seized the opportunity for write a letter for the West Palm Gazette. So the letter here, my lord, will write. You say anything wrong with it, my lord, and then give it to priest jockey, and priest jockey read it. And him say everything in it is upright, my lord. Him say what my lord sometime, him would have prefer man call and or get through and come to the foundation before them do anything, because sometimes you do some things and them do it on them own accord and write some things which is not in line with the Congress. So I'm always would have love it that you can always, confer. But there was never an issue from there on. And the father didn't, me make the father know, say, my lord, we live right, we're going to do right, and we're going to keep doing the work. And the father never have no issue about we doing the work. Because I say, as long as you do the right, no one have no power over you. And that's how we had it from them days there. You know what I mean? Without no itch. From them time, they know itch with the father with it.
True, man.
Yeah, thanks, my Lord. Yes, So yeah, so during the father's time, the communication was open and good, and so then after continue, my Lord, historically, chronologically, can you just kind of fill us in as to how things progressed to bring it to where it is now?
Well, a little thing. One of the last things that before the father transition, that him send and tell us. Just send and tell us, say, Regine, don't look back at Jamaica.
True sound.
Just move forward to Africa any way that you can. So that was preparing us for what is to come, Anyway, we labored all through our from beginning to focus our energies on building in Africa, our future, or where we're planning to go. And we are building our data setting thing. So we were implement, what is the word? To build the tabernacle in Ghana, build houses in Ghana. We bought land. The last thing we did was thought it was 100 acres, but when it worked out, it was only 40-something acres of land for cultivation and development. As the brethren them say, we were the people them that some of us, we Jada did have around him training every day, governmental wise, and to be constructive and forward moving. So in terms of development, we like I say, we build the buildings. We start a way how to make the brethren them economically independent. Because every time that an incident happens, this Miggy pass, this Jackie pass, this person sick to go to hospital, and the situation at camp, we're not able to economically fulfill that. So like we say, just see we are head down the road and it train us and we come together and was able to assist in that part of the Congress development in Africa. And not only just Congress development, but any community that we touch in Africa. Because this is how Jah teach you, my lad. Just said to you, say, see, when time you go to Africa, my lad, you have to work with the community. And if they do one like something, and you take $1, if they put 90 cents, you put your 10 cents in it, so that they know you're home, you're part of them. And that is how we work with the people them in New Tafo. These Turks know the town and planning man. Yes, the chief, the town and planning man. And when him carry to the town and planning man, the man draw out a big map and show where the church was, where the new lands where them want to open, where the road is. And we made an agreement at that time and say, we're going to build a road right across, passing by the church. If you build a bridge, government build a road, you'll be solid in the community. And so we took up that endeavor, come back to Miami, gather the funds. But negativity amongst us, brethren, you know, no one go down any road, but yeah, there was an obstruction to that project, and the man them take the money and eat it, and yeah, it never come to fruit. But we were moving in accordance with the principle we just show we how to move into Africa. For the people want people that come to be progressive. Rollins did tell one of the brethren, say, when time you all are doing something, man, I declare the church, you know, and the Black Christ salvation, and this is the president word. When you all are doing something, I will know and I will come to visit. See? So they are looking for us to come into Africa with development. And that's the type of people them that train us to be. Not just a church, but to develop the communities, churches, schools, all of these. For instance, clinics, all of these things. And this is how we P. Snappy and others bring doctors down to Jamaica to help our poor communities.
And Africa too.
Yes.
All of the outreach that we did in Africa, we bring doctors and nurses, they move at least 5-6 different places throughout Ivory Coast.
Give thanks, my Lord.
You know what I mean? So,
what we are saying, this is the work of the Black Christ. Developing, make the people them aware, teach them, show them the liberty being amongst them, and they will cleave to it, and they will change from them religion and them thing there, because them see the true liberty of love that we display.
And progress. Because progress is
that is the thing. That is the thing, my lord. The people want development. The people need development. I remember one time there was something to do with the United Nations. A man that come up there from some refugee part of the United Nations. And he brought a farm for us to fill out. And had somebody, I think Chris Rocco or somebody reading the farm. And on it, it says occupation and work skills. And that deliberated to us that, brethren, you see, you need to be able to do something when you go to Africa. You need to be able to develop. Carrying the church, you know. But it's not just a church. We're about the development of our people, nation building. Nation building started building a family, unity of us. That's what he was doing and is doing in Florida. Building the family to build the nation and be constructive. We want to implement economic strategies of development. If we is a government, not if. We're a government in a government. But to fulfill the reality of that as a government, we must have sources of income. We must have sources of income, sources of revenue, and we need to train our young prophets and empress and princesses in such development alongside of our spiritual development. We need to spend more time attacking the thing from Marcus Garvey perspective. We go build business. That is where the prophet has said when time comes to Miami, him see the mindset of the man then that want to build, to do things on behalf of the Congress, in the name of the Congress, to bring glory to the Congress. No time since the Miami branch has been established has any political public shame. Like the priest said, we have little in-house issues that you find a camp everywhere you go. And we work on those, you know? But a progressive mindset requires you to do new things and novel things that maybe hasn't been done before, but that doesn't necessarily make it a wrong thing to do. My Lord and Majesty.
Yes, my Lord, give thanks.
Prophet, one second. Okay. 1 second. The trust and respect is what mash we down a lot of time, you know? The trust and the respect for one another. You know, because when a man walk all 40 years long and more in the trad, it's because him love the trad, you know. Him that's supposed to test him and prove him, you know. See, that don't mean say him never buck him to a make mistake and all of these things, you know. We're just saying that within a 40-year span, a man can go do many things, you know, if him finds that work for him, you know. But him stand up in it and him labor with it, with a labor of love, you know, trying to help to develop it. Trust and respect is two prerequisites that we need to have within the house of priests. That is part of our problem because we are our biggest and worst enemy. We expect the outside forces, we expect the colonial powers, we know what they're all about. They can no longer con us. So we know what to expect from them, even though they are very devious. But amongst ourselves, you know, we undermine our own selves, just like you talk about the project in Ghana with the 40 acres, bought seedlings, bought truck, and ones just make things go to waste because of xenophobia. Not understanding the love of your brother. That is true out of love. Your brethren them did this to make the item self-sufficient and make the item don't be no less of anyone in the space that you are. See? So it was doing the work for the Father, but also doing the work for you, the individual who is going to benefit from it. You know, we don't look at that as love, you know. Sometimes it will come like people look at it like we're some simpleton. Just use their money and all of that is all of that. No, that is part of the problem. Valuing your brother, valuing your brethren them, and valuing the skill sets that people bring to the table. That's what Miami have had over the years. Not perfect, of our own hurdles, but we have valued each other's skill sets so we can sit around a table. And we came up with so many different things. If it wasn't for our own implosion, we would have been miles ahead. We came up with all a tides program where Empress Marina had helped to structure. Seeing I forget what it was called, 1010, whatever, but a simple program, you know, of how you would put tides into this, say account then, into this escrow. And when it gets to a certain level, we can turn it into whatever, into investment, we can turn it into whatever, pay some critical bills or help some ones that are in critical need, whatever. But we were constructing an emergency repatriation fund. And it's individuals undermine it, why it didn't reach its potential. And I'm only bringing up these things to show you that, yes, even though we can paint many pictures, the factual picture is we are our worst enemy at times. And Miami has borne the blunt of those kind of attacks because Miami is always trying to push ahead to try and get something done, not for ourselves, because individually, most of the time we can struggle through and maintain. But we are trying to get something done on behalf of the Congress, for the people, for the government, for the father, for the legacy what the father left with I and I. Because a legacy that I leave with I and I, you know. Him leave I and I with him thing and say, boy, me trust on no for manage me thing and it after the next generation intact. So is that move with Miami has always attempted to be on, no matter what other talks, because I hear even today with one of the brethren on the study group from Jamaica, they're quick to throw out these venom, these kind of hostility, you know, when they are dealing with ones that them so-called foreigners, seeing, and them not ready to see the love and embrace the love that the same ones are bringing to them. Because I is not coming with no animosity of no form, always trying to assist. Yeah, bless.
Yes, I wanted to still continue the relationship between the headquarters now and the Miami branch. Over time, did it maintain, the same vibe where the item was like being helpful, with, contributing, funds or whatever is needed, and a good back and forth relationship? Did it stay that way, or did it change, or what, over time after the father transition?
We tried, we attempted, we tried, we did many things. Priest Knuckles them did many things. Even when I in them days they couldn't really move. Priest Knuckles them went down for different meetings. I went down for at least 2 to 3 reorganized the government meeting. One was called by Priest Kailash and them, and the last one there were the 7 of I and I sitting on the seat from with Priest Merle and Priest Rich and Priest Irel and them. That was another one. We have Miami has constantly attempted to get things in order, get back the love together, get back the government together, the function of the Congress together. That has always been our mission, even to this moment. But our attempts have failed, because of one's not wanting structure, because someone benefit from chaos. So them love the chaos. See, and them don't want the structure, which we have attempted several times. So yeah, we have sent phone, we sent computer, different things to facilitate open communication. And then there have been incidents that strain the relationship. You understand? There have been, stupid accusations and different little petty things that help to strain the relationship over time to where it is at now, where Miami could have long ago just followed the father command and say, look to Africa and don't matter, look back down. So, but because we are human and we carry the human love, and we love our brethren them that we left down there, because we and them used to move and we've been through war together, we've been through hell together. We're not going to just walk away and leave our brethren and our family down there without, any form of lifeline and trying to work together to bring this whole repatriation thing to a fruit. So we labor on all fronts. Miami's been laboring on all fronts. The Africa front to keep the Africa thing going, and Jamaica for try and get it together. But they're coming to a point where everybody got to bear their responsibility. The ones them on the hill that are elders, they are elders, they have been taught just like we have been taught. The man them in Africa, they have been taught just like I and I have been taught. The man them in Bahamas and the different places who have walked with the king have been taught the same lesson. It's time for stop hide the light under a bushel now and step out with the light, brethren. You know, show how great our teacher is, you know, and bring the thing to a functionable level. That is as far as I can bring it to this
Yes,
moment.
my Lord, give thanks. So
Brethren can add to it.
I was going to ask Ja Benton, you know, what inspired him to revise the Constitution, and what changes, you know, did you feel was like necessary to make it more up to date, or whatever the case may be?
Yes, my Lord. Well, I like to see myself as a solution-oriented person. And from the minute I read the Constitution, I saw the need for revision. Wasn't nothing wrong with it, but in an operational and functionality sense, it doesn't work. Like the priest say, a brethren point out, simple matters are appointing parliament members. How the Constitution is structured, it have us in the quagmire we're in right now, because there's no clear line of succession. You just needed proper structuring in order for it to be a document that can continue to grow. You have to have, how do you amend the Constitution? There's no article for amending, or no term set to amend the Constitution in the Constitution. There's no succession. There's no clear delineation of powers, things of these nature. Some things are overlapping within itself. I mean, to dissect it is a reason within itself, but like I say, operationally, as we can see right now, the Constitution doesn't allow us to function. So we need something, a founding document that allows us to grow, that allows us to function, that gives us succession, that gives us ways to amend, that gives people's voices representation, that gives representation to all branches, all members. So we have to look at it, right? We got to look at it more holistically. But like I said, I've been working on it from, I would say, 90, I get crowned up in 98. So I'd say from like 99, I was tickling with it. Come to what I would say is a rough draft, or probably what you have seen in 2009 is where I stopped at it. And what I focused on more was just an amendment to what would be the executive section of the Constitution, which would be dealing with the governing body and the powers, in terms of how to set up a function in Parliament, how to, because we have to understand, if we say we're a government, we have to mean a government not have the power not only to enforce law, but to also create laws. So how do we go about these processes and these things? This is where a Constitution is supposed to be able to give you the fundamental framework for that. So the revision basically was focused on that, developing, how do we develop a governance structure? How do we develop the mechanisms of government? How do we get the mechanics working? Seeing our international scope, how do we come away from this feudal,
Autocratic
base where everybody have to come in and report in central, where we try, where on the facade, it looked like a form of centralization, but it's really just a form of a delay. It's just really running in circles, so nothing ever getting done. There's no clear authority in the Gambian right now, to this day. So in terms of being able to implement some of the changes we know are needed in the Constitution, when we set out the Articles of Incorporation, it was a way to create a litmus test to get a beta test running on it, to be able to set up, when you set up the branch or the corporation here, how do you deal about the governance structure? How do you replace governance? What voice membership have? All of these things are set and built in so that we could have continuity, so that we could have Priest Knuckles already serve as chairman, Dougie already serve as chairman down here. You have other man serving as chairman, where we have the thing is perpetual succession. Because we have the format set where we can allow that. So, but the Constitution within itself, if we look at it, we need to really come together and see that we ain't gonna function until we organize ourselves, and organizing ourselves can come from true revision of that Constitution, because it can set it out, and that will be the great equalizer.
Give thanks, my Lord. Yes, that was a lot, but I was following you, 100%. And, I give thanks that day I, took, and I think you had some help still, but give thanks that the inspiration came to do that. And, you took time to, format it properly and word it the right way and all of that stuff. I've seen it and it looks good. I hope that, it will be used and not just, never really, manifest into reality, because where the government is now, it really needs to move forward before too much time pass, and then it's almost like it can't be revived again. So anyway.
I just saying that the Constitution that he revised was what he said, 2009, shortly coming up for revision again. Mm-hmm. That's how much time has passed, and it has not been implemented. So that's a real issue, not just for Miami, but for the entire Congress, because for the Congress to be functional, especially in the 21st century, and the way that Priest Knuckles laid it out, with each branches having a structure, a structure that ties it all together, and we don't duplicate and recreate wheels and inventions that are already existing, but to function together as a well-oiled unit. Mm-hmm. It will take the revision of the Constitution. It will take, putting into place amendments and avenues for amendments that will allow the scope of development to be expanded each time that it is needed, because that is how these constitutions work. His Majesty, during his tenure, revised this constitution that he gave to Ethiopia twice. So yeah, give thanks.
Just, highlighting some of the productive things that came out of the Miami branch. I think the revision of the Constitution is up there. That's not an easy thing. Not just anybody can really even do that still, So I don't know if there's anything else that I don't wanted to share.
Can I add to that you just spoke a while ago?
Absolutely, my Lord.
During the development, the time that I was there, Jah would use lawyers, people that are professional in their capacity to do the things that we were not able to do. We never have somebody bridging them with the skill set yet to do these things. As we develop and just bring in more angels from travel and people that go university, people come that could do these things at the yard. So we, like the priest said, we have to trust the divine savior that is in all of us. That is where Prince Emmanuel teach you, The same God in him and the same God in all I and I. And we all have this work with it. Trust the man will stand up a journey this 40 years. He bring him whole family, left him family I road, everybody into the tradition. This is his whole life. So he's not going to move to anything that is detrimental if he know that. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That is why reasoning is better, because if I am doing something and it is questionable, I'm not sure. And the next priest can say, no, I don't like how that one look or that one the sound, try it that way, yeah. And we come to a better way to do the same thing that needs to be done, And that's how we have to see each other with that respect and that love. No elephant in the room, but we know bringing, but there is a distrust that has developed over the years between the man them originally where we go see at Jamaica and the man them who travel come to Jamaica. Whether it's from Bahamas, Trinidad, and especially who come from North America. And the day come now when we need to understand that this is holding us back and to change our thinking towards that. The other day I see a move by Priest Lamont to bring the two entities together, because that is how Jah did leave way. Just set a parliament, train the man them and leave them. And because of ignorance, we had a coup. And I saw the stagnation of the hill start, because the people them that train in the development and forward movement get tossed out. And so things get locked down. And at a point, there was a time when them say, the man them for come back, come set it. What we are saying is the same teaching you get, same teaching I get, the same teaching the man them in Ghana get, the same teaching. So we must stand up in the teaching and it's like, be the leader. King Emmanuel, bring us to him, teach us to be leaders in the field of right, in all things of right. So we have to be leaders and move the Congress forward. We can't just hold back with our fears and ignorance. You don't know a thing, apply yourself to the brethren who might know it. Ask. If Talty did have any trust in us as a community, he wouldn't get himself in that problem and be misled by that woman to go deal with the thing like that. You see? So we must recognize the skills that we have in our community and draw together and use them for the development, and not use exclusivity thinking like me did dead near Dada R, me did run a Dada R, me did this longer. The same penny we're going to get who come a morning, who come a evening. So we not fair fight against one another like that. My Lord.
My Lord.
Work within our strengths. Work within your strengths. See it. Work within your strength. Each of I and I have a proficiency. Every man have a gift within him. Make we acknowledge one another's gift and empower one another's gift. And stop competing and jostling, whether it's religious or intellectual jostling amongst each other, because that gets us nowhere. You understand? There are many skill sets within this Congress right now that can be utilized to advance this Congress. But the Congress have to be open to it and stop looking at one another's lean. Because a man achieve higher education, that doesn't mean that something is wrong with that individual, Especially when it's an individual who see the loyalty or the duty and is willing to come forward and share what is knowledge with the congregation and help to build the government. We need to look at that as a benefit, because there are many things that we have thwarted over the years that could have served the Congress right now.
Very true.
I pray just have to interject,
Yeah, man, go ahead, priest.
Within the last, say maybe from the beginning of this year, late last year I was in Africa, spent maybe about 30 days there between Rwanda and Uganda. And I would have said divine intervention, how things work and them way. We got in lieu with the director / owner, whatever, at this school named Mission Destiny in Uganda. It's in a place named Ubende in Uganda, which have over 800 children going to that school. And we went there, we spent the night there. And let me tell you something, brethren, I was like floored for what I saw going on there with the little youth them. I mean, how many children were there, them have to run away from them parents because them parents them want to marry them off and them way. And this brethren said, no, a school youth them a go. We gotta go see a school pan running, brethren. I was like, floor. School starts 7:30 in the morning and all 9 o'clock at night. Mr. Pitney in a school still a study in the night under solar energy. You know what I deal with, and so we become very instrumental. We actually adapt the school there. And from this on now we help out. There was only one cook. We employ one another cook. We employ one other social worker. We employ one nurse. We come out of our pocket where we send every month to help out, to make the place run better, whether for have medicine or whether during malaria time when it rain. And also right now, we have some other people where we are working with in buying like 2 borehole, which is drill, start do some drilling in a them area there, you know? So we start help out with the technical part in the school where them start teach different skills so you them can have a skill. You know, so well a different thing we push in and start and go and put your shoulder to the wheel and start do the real work where we really come here for do instead of a sit down and a cut down and a tear down one another and all of that. While you know me a day with works up there for do and we not attempt it. You know, me try right now, me not get too caught up with no up talking and saying and then we just start put your shoulder to the wheel. And as we are going, brethren, me know say something where, you know, once we share it to our fullness, the whole of we can come on board and it's something we can be very instrumental when we are talking about we are help back with brother and sister in the East. My Lord.
Yes, my Lord.
My Lord. And I could add to that too, and I have a Prophet Daniel.
Yes, sir.
In the place, a town called Winneba in Ghana, where I and I, Empress Sekle, we adopted a school. The first time we went there, probably about 2006, we went there visiting and saw the kids going over in the bushes. So we asked the youth to guide us, who carried us. So where they going? They said to the bathroom. I said, but there's no building over there. Where's the bathroom? Oh, he said, that's where they use. And when they come back and talk with the Empress, them, Sister Martha, Sister Yopi, Sister June, them, the fundraising, and gather some funds. The government built the school, you know, but they required of the community to come up with 10% of the cost of building the toilets. And the community couldn't come up with it. The 10% would be about $1,500. And the Empress them from Miami gather and do them thing and we got a toilet built, a whole section of toilet. 2 years after that, we were requested by them, they were building a community, computer room to start teaching these primary kids into the technology of computers. Classroom have 58 students and they only had 9 computers. And again, the community in Florida make up flyers and send out, get fundraising, get companies to donate, and we established a computer room in that school. These are some of the things. 2 years later, we selected 200 of the poorest kids in the school, don't have uniform, don't have shoes, don't have all of these things, and clothe them.
Yep.
I think these are the works that Prince Emmanuel wanted and I to do,
Yes, sir.
along with, as part of salvation of I and I as a people. You see it? So the history of us in Miami is speak of itself when I want notes.
And I
So
want to
when
add to that.
finish my
Sorry,
life.
man. No, man,
Yeah.
go, man.
Yeah,
That's
when
what-
we hear allegations and all of these things, people supposing that from you register the church, taking things from the government, and you only actually hear people for some people give them give them false information that we're working with CIA, FBI, all of these things. So I'm glad today that you brought forth this reasoning that we could have cleared up some of these things. What have we
So
been doing? You know?
I want to add to your sound to priest and then give back the floor, you know, because I like where you're going with the reason. But I want to add to it, I have to throw my 2 pence in there. As a Miami emissary, see, now this is not the continent. The priest them just talk of the continent. We're talking about now headquarters, because one's always going like I and I neglect headquarters. Now, after returning to Jamaica, I've come do some business. I passed through the headquarters and I see say, a couple of my brethren them sick. So I established with my company now a program wherein my company that I'm working with will sponsor the health costs of any hill on the hill that needs help. See, so in doing that, we started off as a priest Pops couldn't walk, priest Morgan had a foot problem that wouldn't heal. They had diagnosed it wrong, which when my doctor Bridget saw it, he knew exactly what it was and told him. And when we took him to the expert diagnosed it same way. But we paid for all of that. We took them to the experts, paid for their initial testing, find out exactly what is wrong, pay for their treatment. I would drive from Negril a week time, come pick them up at the camp, carry them to Mona, to the rehabilitation center for priest Pops to get him in physical therapy, carry priest Morgan to get him treatment, get him foot dress and set up and check pan and all of that. See, these are 2 of the elders that I and I have been treading with the Father, who have been devoted them life to the live. See, and I and I as Miami man see the need to practice the love the way we speak it in our creed. Age protected, infant cared for, sick nourished, and we go on and go on. So we made that tangible, realistic move. You understand? And at the same time, we're doing all of that. We still hear on the side, innuendos and accusations about we getting funds from wherever. See, so yeah, as a priest, I give thanks. Miami branch has never gotten a cent from the government, nowhere, from no private entity, from no one, nowhere. Everything that Miami have done out of them pocket, chomping up together. We learn the power of numbers. And when we had the numbers, we put the numbers together, we throw our money together and we do what we need to do. What we can do, we just can't do. What we can't afford to do, we can't afford to do, and we work towards doing it. Seeing, but we have never taken any money under any false pretenses or any other pretenses. Secondly, I hear that Iman was printing black supremacy and selling. Seeing, that is, again, another blatant attack on Miami's integrity. First of all, before I would reprint that black supremacy would have to be upgraded to fit the time in which we live and the presentation that we can afford to give it. When it was initially constructed, it did its thing. It was simplistic because that is all we had, and we work with what we had. But right now, if Priest Dougie was to say, copy that to make funds off of it, I wouldn't copy it as is, first of all. I would have to upgrade it as a printer, as a person in the field of printing. See? So all of those innuendos and attacks on our goodness, them have a whole saying out there, no good deed goes unpunished. But we will continue to do our good deeds. And at some point, we're going to prove the system wrong. That there has to be some benefit and some justice to doing good. Yes, sir.
Yes, my Lord. Well, yes, I give thanks, and all of that being said, I know it's not to boast and brag and say I did this and I did that, but just to prove that is good works that was being done by the Miami branch members individually and collectively for the Congress, for Black people, for Africa, as a whole, so yeah, give thanks for sharing, my lords, everybody and give thanks for the work, same way. Yeah, because any good work done by a Bobo Shanti makes it a good name for Bobo Shanti everywhere. So, glorify.
My Lord.
Yes,
Yeah, man, and we look forward to working with all our NI brothers and sisters said way, because the aluta continue, the struggle continue, not done. This is not a finality, and this is not a, and we're not looking for validation or authority either. What we're looking for, collaboration. We're looking to work with our brothers and sisters, because there is no dada sitting at the helm anymore, It's I and I who are the dadas of this moment. See, I and I sisters are the empress men of this moment. So we're looking to work together as a family to reconstruct what our father left with we, to make it functionable again. And Virgin, we don't realize what we have, Just look at how fast this thing has grown and how wide it has spread in a short space of time. And then we will know the value of what we have had. Yes, my Lord. So
well, Priest Nappy,
My Lord.
it's true that the Congress is registered in the I's name.
Yeah, man, my name the part type, man. My name, I think, Priest Ronnie. Me and Priest Ronnie, I don't Eugene on it. But I think it's mainly 3 or 4 we name, yes. And Priest Knuckle maybe, I think. But yeah, I know my name was on it, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember now, it's Miami Branch. Don't just use the Congress broad and wide, because we get the Miami Branch is registered in Honorable Priest's name, and we all assigned to it, we all endorsed it, we all uphold it, and we defend it up to this moment. That the man,
we all sit down and reason about it, and who and everything, and vote it on whoever we need it to do, and do it just like how a legal entity supposed to do a thing.
Well,
exactly.
my Lord, let me just interject. To see how we phrase the question is part of the problem. It would be wrong to say the Miami branch is registered in Priest Nappy name. That implies that he has control and ownership. What is the Miami branch registered? Yes. Who are the members of the board, or who are the registering agents? Priest Nappy, along with other members, are the members of the board who would be considered the incorporators. So when we say register in name, especially when we're dealing with people, and we are seeing that our people in this Congress are, when I say ignorant, I don't mean it in a derogative way. I just mean ignorant to the fact that they don't know, and when people don't know, they fail. So it implies that people have control over something, or implicit ownership over something. And that brings scrutiny and fight, where people feel somebody trying to steal something or take something. So we have to start to demystify the thing by breaking it down semantically, by asking it, by framing the question in the right way, in the way that it actually is, instead of framing it in a way that perpetuates stigma and suspicion.
Correct.
My Lord.
Well, I'm glad I asked it that way, so that we could get that clearance, so because, that's just how it's been worded in the public space. So I'm glad I said it that way, so you could give that correction, so everybody could hear, everybody who listens can hear that, that is implying that asking it and saying it that way has implications that come off as negative. So yeah, give thanks for,
and that's an indictment of I mental state.
Yes, sir.
That's what that is, because at the end of the day, if the church was registered just in Priest Nappy's name alone, I wouldn't have a problem with it, because I don't have a problem with my brethren. I don't have a problem with my brethren integrity. I don't have a problem with nothing with the brethren I know for over how many years. And that is where we have to come to that point with one another. The trust again, why can't we trust what the Bobo is going to do is going to be the best that him see for Bobo in that space? Why is it that every man that sets out to try and do something, there has to be a negative behind it, or in it, or with it?
Right.
Yeah, we're just trying to do something positive, and that's what every bubble going to do. If him is a real bubble, if it's an infiltrator, we put on a thing, and him not gonna stay in it 40 years, you know. Which man go hide 40 years unless him really try hide from himself. Yes, please, Snappy, go ahead.
No, yeah, man, and as Job Benton say, you know, my lord, is that also when you're legalizing an entity, there are certain criteria that you have to fulfill, and different names have to fulfill in different departments. You know, me I deal with my name in a one, maybe as a treasurer. Then you have Jarani as the president. I have maybe Eugene as one of the agents or something of that nature. You know, man, you know what I mean? So we just fulfill the names them according to all them structure that you have to do if you have a legal entity.
Mm-hmm.
And all, you know what I mean?
And we give thanks to the helper and our Prophet Benton and the knowledge that him carried us. Because as over the time we have functioned well in Miami due to how we are organized to function like all that I want us to function. When I went to Ghana, I did the same thing with the brethren in Ghana. I said we have to organize a committee to function the settings of the Congress in Ghana. And it was priest, Jackie was made chairman and treasurers and all of these things. Now we set the thing in order and leave the funds to be distributed and to fulfill the program them that we sit down and reason about with the bridging them. The land that was bought for the Congress was put in the Congress name. Me na priest Irel who did go perform work. None of we name not depend it. So all of these projects are Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, the development of our Congress. Yet we have bridging there in them darkness still see that the foreign man them want come take over. And so them block the work, block the progress, and like I say, is a spill out from what is going on in when time the father stepped. And we need to address that amongst ourselves as a whole house and bring back the house to our oneness. And all the people then we are running on power and something and causing the division amongst God's family. We need to stop that and stop throwing dirty water upon other people so that you look good. Your works are going to prove you. That's why we can talk about the things that we have done. Your works, and like the man said, this is not of vain glory. This is the work of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Him are the workman in us, and him teach us.
Totally.
So we not brag about, but to the glory of our Father and when he teach us.
My lord, priest Knuckle, just to interject a little bit too, you know. If you even notice, you know, my lord, look how many years of the track record we have, and you never hear we have blow it up, you know. It's not that I want to come and come try point them finger upon we know that we're going to say, no way. And that's how we do. Here is all of the things them where we do. Ray. And now we have forgot to make you know. Say, we never just sit down and I play and I twiggle with them. We have done many different works, brethren. And we never avoid. I do the work.
True.
So that's why we have to stand up and talk now.
And all the brethren them and the
ascension thing. And the ascension thing, all of this thing about power grabbing, the ascension thing, like the Congress is a deadlift thing, and there is you know, a father to son hand down or a father to whoever. You know, a public entity, a Congress don't run like that. And that is where intelligence, where Job Benton always talk about, intelligence is lacking. You know, education is lacking. To know that an entity maintained by its members cannot be hereditary. It cannot be handed down from father to son or from anything like that. So exactly. That's a vain.
Not in a government.
Right, that's a vain power struggle. Secondly, it's about the best person leading the Congress, not about me and you are brethren or we're friend or whatever, or we're family. It's about the best ones leading the Congress who has the ability and the capability to lead the Congress. The Congress leader needs a divine person that has the respect of most, if not all. You know, we are hardly gonna find anyone with the respect of all, but someone with a standard integrity, you know, that has been tested and proven is the one that has to sit in that seat of leadership. The rest of I and the rest of members are supporting cast to support that chairperson during that chairperson's tenure, whatever the tenure is, whether it is 3 year, 4 year, a year, whatever, you know, the constitution, when it's revised, states that a chairman or a president can sit for. See, so these are because simple things that are causing problem in the Congress when there is no problem, because there is nothing to fight over. There is no prize here being offered up. There is no chiss here. There is no coffers with no millions of dollars here. You understand? Only responsibility, only work. You understand? And like we have proven with the start this evening, Miami Branch is about doing the work. You don't hear about the things that I and I do because it's not about broadcasting what we do, but we have been doing it. And many things at once I've seen over the years and have brought light to the Congress. If you look, there's a Miami man or many Miami ones, and in that pot somewhere along the line, from it has the Congress stamp on it.
True. Right.
Mhm. Give thanks, my Lord. Well, what to kind of, you know, bring the reasoning down a little toward the end, and what was it, and all of y'all can, you know, input on this one the same way. What was it in time that kind of made the Miami branch, I don't know what to call it, but decline is really the first word that comes to my mind, but I don't really know if that's the most accurate.
Yeah, man, be straight. Just be plain. Whatever word come to your mind, we're not offended, man. Just be plain and straight with the question, man.
Yeah, to make the growth kind of halt and the membership kind of change up and all of that stuff. What happened?
Well, there are many things, you know. Many things. Some of it we won't go into here and now because those wounds are healing and we don't want to reopen them. But there are many things, you know. Wherever Jade Satan there and wherever Jade you find a stern disciple always did it the same way. You know, and the stern disciple is the one that will chase the children away, you know. You know, is the accommodating and the loving disciple that welcomes the children when them come with open arms and, you know, give them the candy of love that, you know, encourage them to come. Well, that is giving it to you parabolicistically, seeing, because the Congress belongs to no individual. We, even though we're a branch here in Miami, run by a set of ones, we don't take it on ourselves or take any power on ourselves to lock out anyone from our midst. So you find, say, with that open door policy, all kind of ones come through, you know, and, you know, sometimes ones come with their own agenda. Them don't come on the same mission that I and I is on, you know, and, you know, if given the chance, they create problems, you know, dissension, division, divisiveness is used, and, you know, things slip away, you know, things that was once good and worked, you know, because of the attention is lacking in that direction for a moment, it slips away. That has really been the issue with Miami. You know, there is no individual one to point the finger on, but it's a series of things that have happened. And other brethren, Priest Nappy and Priest Knuckles, them can address, and Jabenton can address their own scene of how the demise or the disintegration came to be. Floor open, you know.
Yes, my Lord. Well, when I look, I wouldn't say disintegration. When I look at the circumstances and the context of the whole situation, when we look at everything we're going down, we have to look at what was one of the major reasons Miami was able to thrive is that we were economically self-sustainable for the most part, up until the economic downturn of 2008. So the socioeconomics the situation also play a part in us losing the numbers, where ones had to move and a lot of ones move and relocate looking for work when then the economy turned down. When the economy turned itself, it brought a lot of internal in-house social pressures where ones had to step away, and just dealing with that was a rough time for everybody. And when we look at that through that progression of those circumstances, we start to see numbers dwindling off, where one's either moving away or had to put more focus on economics, where one job couldn't cut it, where they had to step up hustling, where that time and that commitment wasn't available. Then after that, during, I would say from let's say a 2012, 2000, when you had initial rush of wokeness, I would say, as they like to say in the Black community, where you had this divergence of knowledge and a sort of a renaissance of a Pan-African agenda and a questioning spirit, begin to bring a division and a rupture within the Congress within itself between elders and youths. So where now you had a lot more introspect being done by younger members and senior members into where it is, and a lot more looking in and accepting the fact that the thing ain't working universally as we have it going. Like we just running around in circles. So you get a lot of people from that start to be disheartened and just draw away, and that they move away, but just draw away and become more disillusioned. So when we look at them circumstances, the context of that, then we look at the internal intrigues, what Priest Dougie was saying, we come to sort of where we at right now.
Yes, could I add to that, to my lord? One of the things that keep us together, that's why I got to have a church at the camp. Service, gathering. The more we gather, the more we share, and the closer we are. After, what was it, 10 years of paying $750 a month. I remember at one time I added that we paid them people $85,000 over the time that we was there for that place.
You mean 850,000?
Eh?
Yeah, man, yeah, I have 10 years.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead.
So the funds that we spent, we start to reevaluate, like the prophet say. You have to see where you do, how it starts struggle with people, have to go to other places because the economy not good down here and all of these things. And we decided that we should own the building rather than be paying rent. Because if we had owned the building from beginning, we would have had equity in that building that we could take out at any time and invest in an economic scheme to make more money. So when we decided the landlord, them decided to raise the rent from $750 to $1,200 in one lick. They wanted to get us out. For we've been there long enough, and they could get 1.5 times the money that we were paying for the place. So they implemented new rules and said they wanted $2,400 deposit for first and last month plus the money. And we decided to give it up and try and get ourselves a building. Now, when you have a congregation and you don't have a permanent place, it starts to get scattered, along with the economic and the interest. The more we're not gathering, is the more we lose in that energy,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is also a part of the breakdown of what go on. But I'm going to be honest with you, brethren. After the work that we did in Ghana and the push that we was pushing and the feedback where we get from the brethren them and the what you call it? Them man not grateful.
Man start look about them family instead.
I went to Ghana and see the man them dying of things where
it costs $50 or $100 for going to the hospital, go get rid of that. And it made me angry. I'm going to call the brethren, I don't remember which one the brethren them from Virgin Islands. And one brethren from Boston who put up a funds, made a medical fund with the hospital, put the money there that anytime the brethren them get sick, they could go. Because in Africa, the health system is like that. If you don't have the money to pay same time, you will not get treated. But things that are curable, our brethren them and the way of the economy in the whole Congress is nobody could do that, help out that situation. Is I and mommy, like we say, we bury the man, then we build the hospital fund so that a man don't have to wait when him send come and say they need a strength for that man. His Jackie have to go into the hospital. By the time we first respond, 2 weeks later, the man passed. Please give me the same way with things that is curable. But the neglect that we have, the man more interested in proving who more righteous in this and more than the real love and care for one another. And it make you, I don't like say you give up, but it hurt you, it leave you with a bitterness because you work together and the man still try to kick your foot at the same time. And I throw the water upon you. And we still stand up, for the Father say, can't let them take with the first love, So we hold on to the first love and I push through and I go on, Yeah, but our bridging them, some of them in ignorance, like the priest said, make the journey hard. Make the unity hard for them believe in things that are not so. And firmly believe in them too. You know what I mean? That people that do some other things and people that get money and people that do wrong things and these things are not so. Let us talk about how to fix the things. How do we get the people them in South Africa to come to oneness rather than support one versus the other? These are the issues that we want to talk about. Who for president or something for the father seeing down the road, set up a parliament and leave it as a governing body. He never at no time instruct none of us as elders who was there that Jesus must be the next president or any other president anyway. The same
Not even
thing
the vice president. Not even the vice president was instructed to become president.
Lord, but look at the trend. It's the same thing His Majesty did, because the time come where a single individual it can't manage the leadership. It need a diverse body of intelligence and skills to do the work. It's not about no one man and who want glory and all of them things there. The Father work requires us to come to a unity amongst ourselves and leave these differences behind, rather than when we're talking, is the differences we are talking about. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we need to wake up, Baba. We need to wake up. And to we push like that, man want to make it seem like we're doing something different. No. At the same thing we just teach, we depend on the do all the while. At the same thing we apply ourselves out a road. And that's how we have to apply to establish the government universally, globally, to include everyone and be governed by a governing body. That's what the Father said. That is all. If you want to be a son, if you want to be obedient unto the way of the Black Christ, then you apply with it how the man set the thing to go forward. And we have the power to increase, to change. That is what the man said. You are gods. When the reporter asked him and said, they say that you are God, what do you say? He said, they are gods also. Have confidence in what to do and do the thing as the man teaches us already. And stop licking down one another and become our worst enemy. No? My Lord. Listen.
Yes, my Lord, give thanks. I don't know if anyone else had anything they wanted to add to that, that aspect of the conversation.
Did we fulfill all the questions that you did have, my Lord?
Yes, my Lord, that was a good answer. Everything that I wanted to know was cleared up. And I don't know if there was anything that anyone else, any of the panel members wanted to make sure that they said during this time where you have the floor and the opportunity to address the international, community.
No,
Yeah, we
my
just need,
lord.
we just
Everything
need to come back together here, my brother. We just need to put the thing back together and keep doing what we can do.
right.
I want to promote a brethren right now. There is a priest. He's a doctor in the field of healing. Priest Kalish from St. Lucia, who
Right.
is doing a great program right now, and he has achieved a lot in the space, for elders and ones that are struggling with certain issues like prostate and thing, and looking for some real, treatment, some things that work, and someone that is truly devoted to him calling. Yeah, I would promote
Right.
the priest, So I just wanted to put that out there for the family, because I know a lot of us struggling with certain issues right now in the age that we are. Blessed.
Yes, I
Very much.
give thanks, my Lord. All right, well, if nothing else, then, we can just seal it up. Ask, Honorable Priest Knuckles, since I said the prayer to open it, you can bless us again and we'll come down, my Lord.
My lord.
Behold, how good, how pleasant it is for brethren and sisters to dwell together in unity and love. It's like the precious ointment upon the head that runneth down to the beard, even Aaron's beard, the skirt of his garment. As the dew of Hermon and the dew that descend from the mountain of Zion. For there the Lord commanded his blessing, even life and love. So ye, Lord God, Selassie, Jehovah God, Rastafari. O Almighty God, Rastafari, great and terrible God, Rastafari is the Almighty God. Jah who seated in Zion and reign in the hearts of all flesh. O thou most high eternal Father, Jehovah God, Rastafari. Hear us and bless us, O Lord. Keep and sanctify us all. Emmanuel 7. Oh, my God.
Jah, Rastafari.
Heart of love and continually holding on to the Black Christ salvation. Heavenly Father, continue to lead us and guide us and give us a heart of love one to another. Holy Emmanuel, I.
Selassie.
Jah,
Yeah.
Rastafari.
Rastafari.
Give thanks to one and all, my Lord.
My lord. Blessed.
Yes, I give thanks for all the panel members, give thanks for all the contribution. Hopefully this clears up a lot of the questions and demystifies the history and makes it more realistic and understandable. And, can get rid of some of the division, and the hatred and, bad mind and all of these things out of people's mind and heart. So give thanks, my Lord, and, our guidance and protection to all watching and those who are here with us in the panel. My Lord and Empress, blessed love. This is the African Liberation Network. I'm Prophet Daniel.
My lord, give thanks for the man.
Blessed love, my Lord. Blessed love, brethren.
My lord, blessed love.
Give thanks, Miami Branch.